segments in our service. So we're going to close our eyes to pray. Our precious Lord, Heavenly Father, the great I am, we appreciate you and bless you for bringing us together at a time like this to admonish us, to exhort us, to correct us, to instruct us, and also to bless us. We ask you at this time, O Lord God of the world, that you are going to bless every heart and minister to us, O Lord. We pray, O Lord, unto you at this time that will encourage our hearts. Lord, we pray that every weakness will turn to strength. Lord, we pray that every fear will turn to faith. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'm going to read from our text this morning, Acts of Apostles, chapter 27. And I'll read now verses 23 to 25. In verse 23, for there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar. And lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God, that it shall be even as it was told me. The message we're listening to this morning is titled, Be of Good Cheer. Looks like a message of encouragement and admonition from the Lord. It became necessary for Paul to receive this message from the Lord, and he passed it across to the people. It was a moment of challenge in the life of apostle, and challenges are common in life. This message came at a moment when the storm of life was against Paul, and the situation was not that pleasant. He was on a voyage to Rome to be examined by Emperor Caesar. Paul at this time was a prisoner. He was a prisoner for the hope of the gospel, not for his sin or for his own crime. But this man had been brought before governors, before kings, before rulers at this time. Governor Festus had examined him. Governor Felix had examined him. King Agrippa had examined him, until the man saw that his life was not safe in the hands of the Jews, who determined to kill him because of his preaching of the gospel. And therefore, he appealed to Caesar. In the preceding chapter of Acts, actually chapter 25, reading verse 9, but Festus, willing to do the Jews a pleasure, answered Paul and said, Wilt thou go up to Jerusalem and there be judged of these things before me? Then said Paul, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. For the Jews, to the Jews have I done no wrong, and this thou very well know. The people knew that Paul had done no evil. They still determined that they were going to destroy him, because he said in verse 11, For if I be an offender, or have committed anything worthy of death, I refuse not to die. But if there be none of these things, whereof they accuse me, these who accuse me, no man may deliver me unto them. I appeal unto Caesar. Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, As thou appealed unto Caesar shall thou go. You can see the whole people made up their mind that they were going to destroy him. This man ought not to live. That's what he said. And when he knew that the atmosphere around him was not safe, he decided to appeal to the highest authority in Rome. For at this time, the Jews were under the control of the Roman government. And that's why he now said, let me go to the highest authority and be examined by him. He was facing death charges. He was imprisoned. And now he had to travel all the way to Rome. But along the journey to Rome, another trouble came. Trying to escape from the destruction orchestrated by the Jews. Even though they confessed his innocency, but they said he ought not to leave because he was preaching the gospel. You know the lifestyle of Paul, what kind of life he lived before now. He was a dangerous man to the church. He persecuted the church of God so much and killed many of them. He brought so many of them to imprisonment. And on the day he got the authority of the Jews, of the elders, to arrest anyone that named the name of Jesus Christ, God of heaven decided to arrest him. Because the church was afraid of him and decided to pray. He was a threat to the church before this time. And before his conversion, any Christian he met on the way, Paul arrested or orchestrated the killing of such. But at a time, Jesus Christ on the road to Damascus cornered him, conquered him, and eventually got him converted. From that point, he became a preacher of the same thing, of the same faith that he once persecuted. In fact, when Ananias was called upon by the Lord to go and see him, he was so much afraid, and he told the Lord, I've heard of this man, how much dangerous he has been to the church, the evil he had done. But the Lord told him, don't be afraid, he's now a chosen vessel. One of the first things that God did to Paul was to make him blind to his aggression, blind to violence, blind to wickedness. Because if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things will pass away, and all things will become new. There is no conversion without a fruit of conversion. There is no salvation without evidence of salvation, without noticeable change of life. Heaven will bear witness that you have come to know the Lord. Hell will bear witness that you have escaped from the hands of the devil. The world around us will bear witness that there is a change in you, if sincerely there is a notable conversion taking place. If you are born again, you are born from something to something. As soon as Paul was converted, he became humble, and he became an instrument in the hands of the Lord. He began to preach the same gospel that he once persecuted. In fact, when the disciples in Jerusalem, when they saw him, they were still afraid even after conversion. But the Lord spoke to them through Ananias that he is now a chosen vessel to bear the name of the Lord. And he began to preach, and he was with the disciples. But now, because of the faith that has come to embrace, one thing in life is that we are all on a voyage. We're all travelers going somewhere. There is never a place where God has promised us a very smooth journey, where God has promised us a rosy road. but he only promised us a safe landing. He only promised us that he will never leave you nor forsake you, that he will be with us wherever we go. In this voyage of life, challenging times are bound to come. Life is filled with seasons. When Ecclesiastes was telling us, the wise man said it this way, that there are many seasons in life. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. And he went forth to tell us in verse 4, there is a time to weep, there is a time to laugh, there is a time of joy, there is a time also of sorrow. There's a time to mourn, there's a time to dance. He went further to tell us in verse 6, there's a time to get, there's a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away. What Paul was telling us here is that there are seasons in life. The same God of the mountain is the same God of the valley. The same God of the winter is the same God of the summer. All that man needs to do is to wait for God's time. This God created the day. He also created the time of the night. When challenges of life come, it comes in different shapes. It comes in different forms. It comes to people differently, different dimension and capacity. It comes from place to place, from person to person, especially for those that love the Lord. We will know that the imprisonment of Paul, the shipwreck that Paul suffered on the way to Rome, was not just an accident. It was part of the course that Paul had to go through. He had to go through a school of suffering before he can enter the paradise of enjoyment. This is the way it is in many places to many people in life. And I need to tell you this morning, as I look at this message, be of good cheer, that God knows everything about us. On this journey, Paul started, and he was going to Rome. That was the destination. The devil knew that Paul was on that journey, and 276 prisoners were together with them on this journey, traveling to Rome. And Paul was going to see Caesar, who was the emperor. And now, on the way, there was this wind. The Bible called it tempestuous wind. And the name of that wind was Euroclydon. Dangerous wind, destructive wind, merciless wind. Different winds blow in different places in the world. And they call them different names. Who names them, I don't know. But they call them different names. But one thing is very clear. This wind blew against the journey of Paul and together with the other prisoners. But God saw it all. God knew about it. And God knew the danger of that journey. Because at a time, the hope that any one of them on that journey the hope that they would be saved was lost. There was apprehension, there was fear. And that every one of them was losing hope. But in the midst of all hopelessness, God saw Paul, that Paul was on that journey. Paul needed some words of encouragement. And God sent an angel to him in the night and stood by him and spoke that word and said, there shall not be any man's life lost among you, but of the sheep. They lost so much on that journey that no life was lost. It is not your clothes or your books or your money that really matters to God, but your life is precious before the Lord. My life is precious before the Lord. Things of this world will go with the world. Job said, naked came I from my mother's womb, naked I will return. Things of this world, but your soul And he said, let the worms even destroy this body, yet in my spirit I will see God. God watches not over your glasses, he watches over your soul. God watches over your life, and he ensures that you are not alone in your voyage despite any storm. Challenges will come. But this message of encouragement came at a time it was most needed by Paul, because the people all were looking unto him. Everybody was crying. It was only Paul that was singing on this journey, because faith can still sing in the days of crisis, saying all is well. God knew it all, and God was there with them. That's why he sent the angel to go and comfort Paul on this journey. He said in verse 23, there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve. Do you know that in all your affliction and troubles and trials, there is a Father in heaven? One of our songwriters says, he knows the bitter weary way, the endless striving day by day, the soul that weep, the soul that cry. My Father knows, my Father knows. God knows the storm that came, and he knows the way of escape. And he came to show that way to his servant, Paul. He knows everything about us. And that's why you are not alone. Tell yourself this morning, you are not alone. Say it clearly to yourself. I'm going to divide my message briefly to three. Number one, the challenges we face. The challenges we face. Then number two is counsel for the fainting. In case you're already fainting in your heart. And if you faint in the day of your adversity, it shows that your strength is small. The challenges we face. We face challenges in life, but there is counsel for the fainting. And lastly, we look at companion that never fails. And that's Jesus Christ the Lord. He's a friend. There's not a friend like a lonely Jesus. No, not one, no, not one. He knows about all our troubles. He knows the challenges we face. He knows when the stomach is empty. He knows when the purse is empty. He knows when we face challenges of examination. He knows when crises of life come against us. He knows all we face. He's a companion that never fails. I read in this Acts of Apostles, chapter 27, and I want to read from verse 20 again to verse 25. Acts of Apostles, chapter 27, and I read from verse 20. In verse 20 it says, and when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. But after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, Sirs, ye should have hearkened unto me, and not to have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. Now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the sheep. For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar. And lo, God has given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer. And I say this morning, be of good cheer. Amen. For I believe God, that it shall be even as it was told me. Paul was in this situation, and the situation was devastating. The situation was disturbing enough, and everyone around Paul is like there was no hope. In verse 29 he says, then fear me, lest we should have fallen upon rocks. They cast forth anchors out of the stern and wished for the day. Now if we go over to verse 37, And we were in all of the sheep 216 souls. What is that, mathematicians? 276 souls. The devil wanted to destroy all of them. But God, in his own mercies, handed their lives over to Paul, who was a prisoner in the eyes of the people, but was a prophet in the sight of the Almighty. He was the only one that was chained of incarceration in his hands, but there was the crown of glory surrounding Paul in the midst of the storm. The trouble was much, but God said, I give you the lives of everyone sailing with you. The captain of the ship was there. He was not in control. The man who was in control was Paul, Saul of Tarsus, this man of God. God will make you a captain in the midst of crisis. Amen. Now we're told in verse 38 and in verse 37, and we all were in the ship, 216 souls. Verse 42, and the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them will swim out and escape. But the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept them from their purpose, and commanded that they which could swim should cast themselves first into the sea and get to the land. Now, that is exactly what the situation was at that time. But the promise of God kept Paul. He kept on remembering what God said through his angel. The angel said, don't be afraid, fear not, Paul, for there shall not be no man's life lost among you. And God has given you the souls that are traveling with you. He stood on that promise. He depended on the word of the Lord. Despite the situation, the ship was broken apart. The substances, their luggages were being thrown into the sea to lighten the ship. And in the midst of all that, Paul still stood out to say, I believe God. There are challenges we face. If you read your Bible very well, you will realize that in verse 44, which is the last verse, and the rest, some on board, and some on broken pieces of the ship, and so it came to pass that they escaped all safe to land. Thank God this morning you escaped. Amen. And you will continue to escape. Amen. Whatever the wind that blows, we shall continue to escape. Amen. They escaped all safe to land. Why? Because there stood by me this night the angel of the Lord, who I serve and whose I am. And God stood by Paul, encouraged him, lifted him up, and every one of them was saved. You know, the trials of life come in different shapes and forms. In Ephesus, in Acts chapter 16, this is where this man preached. This is Paul, and he had just cast out devils from a lady that was demon possessed, and they arrested him and they started beating him, himself and Barnabas. The beating was so much, eventually the people gathered from nowhere and they began to throw accusation, false accusation against Paul. And eventually he was arrested without any trial and was put in prison. In the midst of imprisonment and the midst of soldiers, Paul and Barnabas were there. In the night time, God Almighty came down when he saw the attitude of Paul and Silas to the situation, that rather than bemoaning their faith, rather than crying unto their gods and unto men to help, they only cried to the Almighty God, praising God and praying unto him. And God sent a powerful angel from heaven that opened prison doors and broke the chains from their hands. And the people that were in prison, they began to rejoice and dancing and praising God in the prison. And the Bible says that there was a great earthquake. And when they were praising God, the prisoners heard them. And the result was that the jailer himself noticed that something had happened. The prison doors have opened on its own accord. And there was implication about that. That's what we saw on the ship when Paul was traveling. and they thought that the prisoners will escape. So the captain said, let us kill all these prisoners. But because of Paul, they couldn't kill them because they know that Paul was a distinguished man. In the midst of the crisis of this world, God will make you a distinguished captain. Amen. They saw him, a unique person. And that's why they couldn't carry out their threat. Because in the law of Romans, if you are a security man or a soldier, and somebody is put in your custody to keep, and he escapes, it is life for life. You will remember in Acts chapter 12, when Peter was put in prison, an angel came and rescued him. In the morning, when Herod noticed that Peter was no longer in prison, every soldier, the battalion of soldiers that were sent to keep to keep Peter in the prison, all of them were killed because a prisoner had escaped. They didn't know how he escaped, but you will always escape. Amen. I say you will always escape. Amen. Tell yourself, I will always escape. I will always escape. Tell the person sleeping by you, I will always escape. I will always escape. Now, what happened is this. On this occasion, we see that Paul himself was the one now that was arresting those who jailed him. Because the jailer came. He wanted to kill himself. Oh, he thought Paul had escaped. Paul said, no, don't kill yourself. I am here. And what happened? That is a purpose why Paul went to that prison. If Paul had not gone there, the jailer will never be saved. His family will never be saved. For all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. You will love the Lord. Amen. Now, look at the situation. When situations happen to us, what is our attitude to it? Now, we saw a woman in the Bible. That woman, they call her a Shunammite woman in 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 16 to 20. You can read that on your own. In this book of 2 Kings chapter 4, this Shunammite woman, she never had a child. Her situation was very bad, and the woman was growing old. And she had a husband. There was no child, a great woman. It was in the days of Elisha. Elisha got to the place, and the woman was very hospitable, taking care of the man of God. And the man of God prayed for her. Eventually, she embraced a son. And this son, it was a delight of the family. He was a joy to the family. And something happened. As the child was growing up, one day he followed his father to the farm. And what happened? The boy died. Suddenly, the devil came and struck at that child, killed that child. And when this child died, eventually the mother carried him up and went straight to the bed of the man of God, put that child, dead body, in the room, and went away. He was looking for Elisha very quickly, told the husband, saddle me and ask, let's go and see the man of God. I'm going to the very presence of God. I've put that child in the custody of the Almighty God. Elisha was representing God. God was in Elisha. And therefore, wherever Elisha was, the anointing of Elisha was there. The woman put that child right there and ran to Elisha. When Elisha saw him and saw her coming, and people were asking on the way because they saw the way the woman was driving furiously, going to Elisha. And they were asking questions. Is it well with you? Oh, she said it is well. Is it well with your child? Yes, it is well. Is it well with your husband? Yes, it is well. And when she got to the man of God, that is the presence of the Shekinah glory. That is the presence of God. That is the holies of holies, where the people receive mercy, where the people receive miracles, where the people receive solution to their problems. When he got to the man of God, he held the man of God by the leg and said, look, see what has happened to me. And the man of God said, Gehazi, get up quickly. Take my staff, go over there, lay it on the face of the child. And then the woman said, I am not going with Gehazi. I'm going with the man of God. I'm not going to take the second best. I'm going to take the best. In your life, you will take the best. Amen. In your marriage, you will take the best. Amen. In this life, you will get the best. Amen. And Elisha said, well, I know what is going on. Elisha followed her. And when they got to the house, Elisha said, all of you are weeping and wailing over there. Get aside. Elisha went inside. And it was business between Elisha and the Almighty God. He prayed and the child came back to life. And he said, Gehazi, call the woman. Take your child and go. A living child came. A miracle took place. There is a reason. And look at the life of this man. If there was no occasion like that, how do you know that God will ever raise a dead child to life? There are reasons why things happen. All things work together for good to them that love the Lord. And the Lord performed a miracle on that day. The woman confessed everywhere, every time. Is it well with you? He said, it is well. And I ask you a question, brother. This day, is it well with you? Where you live, is it well with you? Sister, is it well with you? Is it well with your soul? Is it well with your academics now? Is it well with your rotation? Is it well with your family? How about your finances? It shall be well with you. The woman confessed it is well. And I ask you a question, was it well with her? It was well, because she got a child. You are going to get your child. You are going to get your miracle. Some people say that I lost this, I lost that. Thank God what you lost, so that you can get the best. You know, some people ask me a question. They said they had, what did you get lost in the storm? And I asked them, that is nothing I lost, because I didn't lose my life. If I lose anything, thank God for this good Bible. This Bible is the only one. I left it in my car, and that's the only one that was spared. I bought my good Bible, my preaching Bible, in 1982. I bought one in 1980. My date Bible, my Shane's Bible, I bought it, is older than some of you. I bought that one in 1980. I bought another one in 1982. And all the big Bibles, preacher's Bible, that is the only thing that paid me. All right? That's the only thing that paid me, because I did not have that Bible again. Because my Bible, if I with my Bible, without any preaching applying, with my Bible I can preach any moment, even in my dream. That's those Bibles who are lost, but the Bible is in my heart. Amen? So you have lost nothing. All right? So the woman lost her child, but because it was well, she got her child back to life. And look at the life of Job. When I look at the life of Job, and I begin to understand why God was referring to Job in the book of James. And he said, have you seen the patience of Job? That in all his affliction, the patience of Job, he was afflicted by Satan. In fact, that was a statement I saw in my Bible. It went in chapter 2. Let me show you. In Job chapter 2, I'll show you that. Let's see Job chapter 1, verse 12. Job chapter 1, in verse 12. See what it says there. Job chapter 1, in verse 12. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thy hand. Now, the next statement, everybody. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Now, that statement brought a lot of catastrophe. Satan went forth. He did not go forth to be a friend to Job, to invite him to canteen. He did not go forth to go and entertain Job. He went forth to fight. He went forth to attack. He went forth to oppose. He went forth to destroy. And so Satan went forth. And the result of it is calamity upon calamity. Destruction upon destruction. And that's what brought Job down, physically speaking. And people thought all was gone. And the wife came later and began to tell Job, are you still holding your integrity? It's better you curse God and die. And Job said, see what Job told that woman. And I will tell you this morning. In Job chapter 1, verses 20 to 22. Job chapter 1, verse 20. Then Job arose and rent his mantle. Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell upon the ground and worshipped and said, naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. Reader, the Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. What is the word? Blessed be the name of the Lord. In every situation you will bless the Lord. Any situation that will make you bless the Lord will never happen to your life in Jesus' name. So then, you look at this situation. Look at the woman now. When the child of the woman died, it was like the end of the story, but it was just introduction to the story. The story was the woman got a miracle child back to life. Job, the end of the story was in chapter 42, and God restored all that Job had lost back to him double. How many of you are going to get double here? the Lord restored back to Job. Job in chapter 42 verse 10, the Bible says, when Job began to pray for his friends, and the Lord restored back unto Job everything that he lost, gave him double, and he gave him long life so that he can enjoy the latter part of his life. You know that the end is better than the beginning. You will enjoy in this life. If Jesus tarries, all of us are still going to enjoy this life to the fullness, and it will happen in Jesus' name. And remember that what happens to man, there are reasons for it. When Joseph found himself in Egypt, and the situation was not good, the road was very rough. It was a rugged road. And people sing it. They say, this is not an easy road. There are trials and troubles. How many? Whatever the way you sing it. So there are trials and troubles that came against Joseph. But Joseph realized something later when his brothers came and they met him in Egypt, and later realized that this is the same Joseph that you wanted to kill, that eventually you sold into slavery. And Joseph told them, because they were angry with themselves, immediately their conscience was fighting them. Immediately they were shivering in his presence. And Joseph told them, don't be angry with yourself. You sold me here. You thought evil against me, but the Lord turned the evil to good. Is that God was sending me ahead to come and preserve life, to come and preserve food, to come and make the future better for you. There is a reason why God transported me here. Of course, the road through which God transported me was not an easy road, but God has brought me back to life. You meant evil, God has turned it to good for me. That's what Romans chapter 8 verse 28 is saying. All things work together for good to them that love the Lord. And it says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 18, in everything, what did he say you should do? Give thanks. For this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Give thanks. He didn't say in everything, but like in everything, curse your head. In everything, cry to your father. In everything, give thanks to God. This is the will of God. Everyone that loves the Lord, God has a good purpose for your life in Jesus' name. Do you know that the situation we find ourselves these days, sometimes man might look disturbed, but God is never disturbed, because God has the final word and he has the final say. When I go to a church in Dominica, I look at houses to the right and houses to the left. Some of them are broken to shreds, but inside our church, even the keyboard that we placed on the table, the keyboard was just there intact. Everything we arranged, the microphones, everything, the speaker, everything was just intact. God respected his house. God will respect your life. Amen. That's whatever the situation, that is something that we need to talk to us about. Cancel, let me just cancel you. Cancel for the fainting. In Acts chapter 27, I read verse 20. Acts chapter 27, in verse 20, we're told here, and when neither sun nor stars appeared for many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. Then, but after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, Sirs, ye should have hearkened unto me, and not to have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this lost and harm. And now I exhort you, be of good cheer. And that's my counsel for you this afternoon. Be of good cheer. Can you talk to your friend over there? Let me see you. Say, be of good cheer. Be of good cheer. Be of good cheer. And he said, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the sheep. So then, and he encouraged them. For 14 days, the people were fasting. You cannot even remember food when Maria came. You cannot even remember that where is your telephone when Maria came. Everybody was crying for the survival of his life. So the people did not eat food for 14 days. Paul had to tell them, now it's time to eat food. And when they were still shivering, what is this man talking about? In the midst of suffering, in the midst of hardship, faith can sing that all is well. And eventually, he took meat in their presence and he began to eat. And when he was eating, the people shared up. And then they were good share. They also took meat. And all of them became strengthened. You need the strength of God. You cannot fast your life out. You cannot go into shame fasting 21 days until all your bones are coming out. That is not good for your head. Paul had admonished. He said, this is not good for your head, for you to fast all your life. We are on a journey. In this journey, the Lord will give you good food. Amen. That's why today you will eat good food. Amen. Praise the name of the Lord. Hallelujah. So then, we can see in verse 33, of Acts chapter 27, and while the day was coming on, Paul besought them all to take meat, saying, this day is the 14th day that ye have tarried and continued fasting, having taken nothing. Wherefore I pray you to take some meat, for this is for your head. For there shall not a hair fall from the head of any of you. And when he had thus spoken, he took bread and gave thanks to God in the presence of them all. That's why it is good to bless food before you eat. And when he had broken it, he began to eat. Then were they all of good cheer, and they also took some meat. You will take some meat. Amen. And your strength will come back to you. Amen. In the name of Jesus Christ. And when they had eaten enough, they lighted the ship and cast out wheat into the sea. You know what? Jesus told us something before he left. In John 16:33, that in this world you shall have tribulations. But he said, be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. There are tribulations in the world, and tribulations differ from place to place. And this is not talking about the great tribulation, but the troubles and the trials we face. It differs from place to place and from person to person. Sometimes we look at problems and it looks so mountainous to us, as if it's something gigantic. But problems are common in life. What is problem? P of problem. Problem is something that is present everywhere. Whether in America, or in Africa, or in Asia, or in Australia, or in the Middle East, there is no place in the world where there is no problem. Oh, if I've come to study in Harvard, in America, maybe this situation will not have happened to me. There are problems everywhere. Do you know that there was Hurricane Harvey in America and almost destroyed the whole of Texas? But the Almighty God still spared his own person. Do you know that in Haiti, some years back, an hurricane came and destroyed many lives there? There is problem everywhere. If you go to Ukraine, there is problem in Ukraine. There is problem in Iraq. There is problem in different parts of the world. In the Middle East, it's even worse. There are problems everywhere. Problems are everywhere. And when you run to Africa and you go to Nigeria, you know, Nigeria is safe. There is no hurricane. There is something bigger than hurricane in Nigeria. So, problems is what you find everywhere. It is present everywhere, whether Caribbean or Africa. Anywhere in the world, problem is everywhere. Somebody crying to mommy, mommy, this place, I'm tired, I'm fed up, I want to leave the place. Where you are going next, there is problem everywhere. And the Lord will see you through. Yeah. What is problem? R of problem. It's just a reminder that we have not entered the paradise yet. We are not yet in heaven. This is not our utopia. This is not Canaan. We are still on the journey from Egypt to Canaan. That is why it's just a reminder that we are still in the world, that we are still here. So it's a reminder. What is problem? O of problem is an opportunity. Opportunity for us to pray. Opportunity for us to trust God. Just like Paul was trusting God there. I believe God, it shall be, even as it was told me. It's an opportunity for us to develop our faith, to speak the language of faith. That is problem. What is problem? The B of problem. Problem is blessing in disguise. You know, when it happened to Joseph, people did not know. They said, we have gotten rid of that dreamer. But it's a blessing in disguise. They threw him to the pit. They sold him into slavery. But they didn't know that they were transporting him to his blessing, to where he was going to reign over every one of them. Every one of them, including the person who jailed him, including the person who was supervising him in the prison, including the Potiphar who brought him to his house. He was coming to reign and rule over every one of them. Problem is blessings in disguise. It will be a blessing to you. Amen. That's the way it was to Job. The problem he faced was a blessing in disguise. Transported him to getting double. Double portion is coming to somebody here today. Amen. It happened to Daniel. It was a problem in disguise. They brought him to the den of lion. But when he was going there, God quickly sent an angel to seal the mouth of the lion. It did not hurt him. When he came up, he was promoted and became deputy, and he became the prime minister in the land of the heathen. God will promote somebody here. His opportunity to pray and his blessings in disguise. What is problem? What is the next word? L is lessons to learn. There are lessons to learn in every situation. You know, as we go, maybe from Dominica to St. Vincent, from St. Vincent to another place, there are lessons to learn in the problems we face. Whether you have money at the moment, you have no money, there are lessons to learn in every problem we face. That's why God allows it. What is problem? E of problem, that experience come. And these experiences come to develop us, to toughen us. In fact, when we were told in Romans chapter 5, it says, with glory in tribulation. Because tribulation, it works experience, and experience hope. And this hope makes not ashamed. Because the love of God is shed abroad in our heart. It gives us experience. So problem gives us experience. You'll be able to share it one day. Maybe when you become a consultant over there, you say, during my training, you know, it was not easy. I had this experience of Hurricane Maria and somewhere and all that. It's experience, we get experience. And those experiences is not meant to break us. It can only bend us. But when it bends us, we are going to come up straight. You know, when you take the broom in your house, and you are fighting with the broom in your house, and in the broom, for those of you who come from Africa, you know what broom is. By the time you see broom, by the time you see your broom, take it and want to make effort to bend it. You can't bend it. I mean, you can't break it. You can only bend it. At the time you release it, what comes out? It comes up straight. You are going to come up straight. Amen. I said you are going to come up straight. Amen. So then, what is problem? Problem, M of problem. There is a message in every problem. A message, maybe a message from God, or message for the people. There are always messages inside every problem. You know something I have found? In the situation that we find ourselves, there are messages that we need to take to heart, so that it will help us to become better Christians. When I was in the university, the head of my university, they call him Chancellor. Chancellor. In every word Chancellor, there is a chance. Am I right? In every nonsense, there is a sense. So there is something good you can make out of the situation you find yourself. There's a message for you. That's a message. Take that message and take the positive out of the message. Not only that, if you say problems, then the last one is S. Is a signpost to your miracle. This one is a signpost, a signal to your miracle. Your miracle is on the way. I said your miracle is on the way, because greater days are ahead. So that, but I need to caution you. I need to caution you that you should make the best of this situation. You should be positive. You should look up and stop looking down. Make the best of the situation and look on the brighter side. That is my admonition to you. That's my counsel to you. Make the best of the situation. You know, James 5, verses 13 to 14. If any of you is afflicted, so let him pray. If any of you marry, let him sing psalms. If there is anyone that is sick among you, call the elders of the church. Let them pray over him and anoint him with oil in the name of the Lord, because the prayer of faith shall save the sick. So whatever the situation, make the best of the situation. But let no one. Apostle Peter now cautioned us in 1 chapter 3. If you read verses 12 to 14, he cautioned us. The only thing is that when there are afflictions and challenges, let none of you suffer as an evildoer. Let none of you suffer as a thief. Let none of you suffer as a gossip. Let none of you suffer as somebody who deliberately puts himself in trouble. You know, if for instance now, take it for instance, you know, when we find ourselves there, if somebody decides to be roaming about in the street in the night time and says, now I have my liberty. There's no Pastor David to look after me. There is no daddy or mommy or dean, whatever. And then in the night time, and you are alone, a lady, and you are alone, and you are roaming about the street of Bel-Air, the street of Arnoldville, and all those places. I have not been able to cram all the names. But you begin to roam about the street. In the night time, it is not safe for you. It is not safe for you. You cannot, when the darkness is there, and you cannot see the person that is ahead of you and identify and know that person. that time is not safe for you to walk on the street. This is St. Vincent. It is not paradise. It is not heaven yet. Do you understand? So you cannot go and put yourself deliberately in a trouble. You have to be very careful. Let none of you suffer as an evildoer in anybody's matter. But if any of you suffer as a Christian, he says, let him not be ashamed. Let him glorify God on that behalf. And none of you will suffer in Jesus' name. And the Bible exhorts us in that book of 1 Peter, chapter 4, verses 12 to 16. When you read that later, you'll see all the admonition telling us that our suffering now looks like a light affliction, which is just there for a moment, just light affliction. And at the end, it brings a weight of glory. There is a God who watches over his own and is watching over you in Jesus' name. So let none of you be caught doing something wrong. Let none of you be caught, in any kind of questionable activities. Be very watchful and be very careful. That's why Hebrews chapter 12 now says we should look unto Jesus. Verses 1 and 2 is the author and finisher of our faith. He says in verse 1 that saying that we have a cloud of witnesses surrounding us. Heaven is a witness. Holy Ghost is a witness. Angels of heaven, they are witnesses. Brothers and sisters surrounding us, they are witnesses. We have a cloud of witnesses. Some of our brothers and sisters who are slept in glory, they are witnesses. They see us. They know what we are going through. So there are a cloud of witnesses. So let us be careful how we run our race. Look unto Jesus, who is the author and finisher of your faith. And it says, consider this Jesus Christ, who also he endured the contradiction of sinners against himself. There were challenges he faced. The people reviled him, they rebuked him, they punished him, they beat him. At the end of the day, he got the glory. He entered into glory. You also will enter one day into glory. Amen. Jesus Christ, our perfect example. And he says, because of him, we should now do something. He said, if your hands are hung down, that's what the Bible says in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verses 11 to 13. He said, lift up the hands that are hung down. If you are getting discouraged, encourage yourself. If you are getting weary and weak, lift up yourself and stand up fast and think of the positive thing, what you can gain out of the situation. Make the best out of the situation. Some people, I was glad when I came this week and I discovered that some students came in here and then they said, we started clinical rotation. I said, that is wonderful. Even in Dominica, maybe if you are there now, you will not even start clinical rotation. Then something positive is coming out of negative. God will promote somebody here. Yeah. You can make the best of the situation. Take advantage of what you are facing now and move on. Life continues. Life is not stagnant. The devil is busy. So you also get busy in the positive direction. Do something that will make your life more impacted and more beautiful. And then impact your environment in a positive way. That everyone will notice that Sister so-and-so, the period she came here, she was a blessing to us. You'll be a blessing anywhere you go in Jesus' name. I'm going to warn you in Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3. This is part of my counsel. Daniel chapter 3. I want to read verses 12 to 18. Daniel chapter 3. In verse 12. In verse 12 we're told, then there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee, they have not served thy gods, nor worshipped the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage was and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which are set up? Now if ye be ready, at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flutes, harp, sabbath, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which have set up, which have made. Well, but if you worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of the hand, O king. He will deliver you. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Now, the situation is, in Babylon, so many things began to happen. These people were transported to Babylon. These people, Babylon was not their place of stay. Babylon corrupts its dwellers. Babylon contaminates its dwellers. Babylon pollutes the people that live in Babylon. Babylon is this type of this world. This world corrupts its people. And there is warning for these children. Now they were told, it's time for you. You are in Babylon now. Do like the Babylonians. Every Babylonian worships the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar has set up. He has gods. And the people in Babylon, they worship those gods. And these three Hebrew children said, we're not going to worship. Then they were reported to the king. And the king gave them a second chance. They always want to give you a second chance and tell you to bow down and worship. And if you say you're not going to worship, they will tell you that your religion is fanaticism. If you don't want to bow down completely, at least bow down a little, compromise your faith. But here is the warning. You have to beware of so many things. 7 things you are going to beware of. Number 1, beware of the corrupting influence in Babylon. Babylon tried to influence, to corrupt all these people, including Daniel. But Daniel simply made up his mind. In Daniel 1:8, we are told, and Daniel proposed in his heart. He proposed, he had a purpose of heart. He made up his mind. I am not going to be corrupted. I'm not going to be influenced. He decided not to eat their food, not to drink their water. I mean, whatever they drink in Babylon. He made up his mind, and God stood by him. God will stand by you. Beware of the corrupting influence in Babylon. So then, beware of corruption. That is 1. Number 2, beware of compromise. Beware of compromise. You know, compromise comes in different shapes, especially compromise to sin. They wanted these children to compromise their faith. They were used to serving the living God. But now they were told to come and serve idol. You know what your stand is. You know what you believe. You know what you used to stand for. But now, these people were asked to compromise. Compromise with sin is confusion before in Christianity. Thou shalt not lower your standard. Remember where you came from. Remember what you do. Compromise. Whatever the people do that you know is contradictory to what you believe. Beware of compromise. Number 3, beware of complaints. You know, complaints always bring disaffection in the mind of God. In Numbers 11, you see how the children of Israel began to complain when they brought them out of Egypt. And we are told in Numbers 11 from verses 4 down to verse 10, the mixed multitude among them fell and lost him, and they began to ask, and they began to complain. You know, that now they brought us out, that is the food we used to eat in Egypt is not here. They know that we remember the cucumber, we remember the garlic, we remember the fish, we remember the melon. Those were their complaints, and these things brought disaffection in the mind of Moses, the leader, and in the mind of God. Beware of complaints. When people complain, I don't have this, I don't have that, I lost this, I lost that. There are many complaints that will come in the mind of the people, but beware of complaints. Just make up your mind. Remember, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. So beware of corruption, corrupting influence. Beware of compromise. Beware of complaints. Beware of complacency. Complacency. Complacency is indifference. You know, whatever is going on, just complacent. It's time to come to church. I'm just complacent. I need my time. They're just indifferent. It's time for us to come and pray for our future, for the way forward. They're just complacent. You're not even showing interest. They're not just serious about anything that is serious. They're just complacent. The Bible will not support that kind of lackadaisical attitude. I don't care attitude. Prayer meeting, I don't want. Church service, I don't want. And Bible study, if I lie. Beware of lackadaisical attitude. Beware of coldness to spiritual matters. It's time to pray. Maybe the situation has made of us not to do quiet time, for a long time, not to read Bible, or you have forgotten your Bible, or that is if you still have it, but maybe you forgot it somewhere. Go and pick up your Bible. Coldness to spiritual matters will lead to lukewarmness, and lukewarmness will lead to backsliding. Beware of coldness to spiritual matters. Beware of confession of negatives. Beware of confession of negatives. What did I say? Beware of confession of negatives. You know what the 10 spies did? They said, we got to the land, but there is nothing good there. The land, God said, is flowing with milk and honey. Then we saw giants, we saw anarchists, we saw the children we saw ourselves just like grasshoppers, and the people are just giants. And they saw themselves intimidated. Beware of confessing negatives. What do you see in the land? Oh, I see trouble there. I see bad roads alone. I see the people, I don't see the food I used to eat where I came from. Beware of confessing the negatives. Let your tongue talk positive. Let it talk of the grace of God. Let it talk of the goodness of the Lord. Let it talk of the blessings and something that will bless and impart your fellow brothers and sisters. There are people who are pessimists in life, and they never see anything good in any situation, and they're just pessimistic. When the hurricane happened in Dominica, the next day, so you met somebody on the way. Good morning. He said, what is good in the morning? Just say morning and go away. What is good? What is good in the morning? So they are always negative and pessimistic, not seeing something good in the situation around them. I have a friend, and every time I call him, sir, how are you today? Oh, it is bad enough. I said, but sir, you have enough money, you're a millionaire. Things are bad enough. If you ask him 10 times a day, how are you, sir? Things are bad enough. Things are bad enough. But for you, things will be best enough. Amen. So beware of confession of negatives. Number 7 is that beware of companionship with evil people. The Bible says, thou shalt not join a multitude to do evil. Beware, because evil communications corrupt morals. They will destroy you. They call you in the night. You just came, you need to enjoy yourself. There's a night party over there in Bel Air, and let's go. There is this one over there. There's a drinking parlor. It's over there. Let us go. Beware of that kind of companionship. Any place they invite you, anyone inviting you that is not going to help your faith, help your spiritual life, help you for safety and survival, beware of companionship with evil people. The Bible says in Proverbs that a companion of fools shall be destroyed. So then, what do? Walk with wise men if you want to be wise. Walk with intelligent people if you want to be intelligent. Walk with spiritual people if you want to be spiritual. Walk with prayerful people if you want to live a prayerful life, because the companion of fools shall be destroyed. Another part of this message, to summarize for you, is companionship that never fails. I'm going to read some scriptures here. Now, we read this Daniel chapter 3. I read Daniel chapter 3, verse 24. Daniel chapter 3, verse 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is... If you are not sleeping, answer me.
Like the Son of God.
Say so that somebody sleeping by your side will know.
Like the Son of God.
Jesus himself, the very present help in time of trouble, he was with them. Nebuchadnezzar said, prepare the fire 7 times hotter and throw them there. The fire was so hot that even those mighty men or soldiers in Babylon that carried them into the fire, the heat of the fire was sufficient to kill them. But these 3 men, as they threw them there, God turned the fire to air conditioning room. It was cool for them. The fire only successfully removed the rope that they used to tie their hands, and people became free. And they were doing revival inside the fire. And the fire had no hurt on them. In fact, the Bible says that the flame of the fire did not even touch them. The smell of the fire did not even appear on them when they came out. Do you know what the Bible says? That was the fulfillment of Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2. When you go through the fire will not burn you. When you go through the water will not overflow you. The promise of God will be fulfilled in your life. So then, in the book of Matthew 28:20, Jesus himself said, "Lo, I am with you." For how many days?
Always.
For how many hours?
Always.
Always. Even to the end of the world, he will be with you. At the end of the story, because the Lord was with these 3 Hebrew children, they were promoted. The Bible said the king promoted them. He confessed there is no God that can save like this. And they promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, put them at the highest echelon of the authority in Babylon. The Lord will promote you. In this Acts 27, you see how the Lord sent his angel, and Paul confessed, "There stood by me this night the angel of the Lord, whom I serve and whose I am." The Lord was there with him. Companionship that never fails. God, he never leaves his own. He never abandons us. In the midst of our trials, in the midst of our troubles, when examination heat is at the peak, that's the time you prove the efficacy of the power of prayer. That's the time you prove the presence of the Lord. That's where, because it's a stronghold in the day of trouble. And the Lord is always by your side. And he says, "My presence shall go with you." That's what he told Moses, and his presence will go with you. Whatever has happened, whatever has not happened. In Joel chapter 2, God now gives us a promise here. In Joel chapter 2. Joel chapter 2, I read over there in verse 25. The book of Joel chapter 2, in verse 25. Now here we see the promise of the Lord, and the promise is to be claimed by somebody here this morning. And the promise is unto you. We read Joel chapter 2. In Joel chapter 2, verse what? Verse 25. Now, somebody will rise up and read it for us now. Joel chapter 2, verse 25. Somebody rise up and read it for us now.
And I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten.
Amen.
And the canker
Amen.
and the caterpillar, and the farmer one, my great army which I sent among you.
That's the promise of the Lord. God says, "I will restore." And Psalm 126, verse 1, when the Lord did what? Turn again the captivity of Zion. We were like them that dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter. And people begin to say, "The Lord has done great things for them." The Lord has done great things for us, and so we are glad. This is the time of restoration. This is the time of restoration. This is the time of rejoicing, not a time of sorrow. Don't wear any long face. Enjoy yourself in the Lord and tell the devil to his face, "You lost the battle." Let me hear you tell the devil, "You lost the battle." You lost the battle. And Jesus has won the battle. Jesus has won the battle for me. This is the courage for those of you that are fainting. Jesus has won, and Satan has lost the battle. Jesus told us, John 14 verse 1, "Let not your heart be troubled." If you are troubled right now, let not your heart be troubled. If you are worried about what comes next, what does not come next, let not your heart be troubled. Psalm 46. We're going to read that together. Psalm 46. Psalm 46. Are you there? Yes. In Psalm 46, we're going to read from verse 1. 1, 2, go. Psalm 46, verse 1. The Lord is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof,
There is a river, the streams of the city of God. The holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved.
God shall help her, and that right early. The wind raged, the kingdoms were moved.
He uttered his voice, and they answered melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. The last verse. The Lord of hosts is with us.
The God of Jacob is our refuge.
He will be your refuge.
Amen.
Psalm 23 verse 4, he said, even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. You will fear no evil. Because the Lord is with you. You know, it is always the troubles that we have in this present world is just because the time of the devil is just very close for him to enter into his eternal perdition. That's why some people said, is the world coming to an end? Because the storm is going from place to place. Even right now, it's going back again to America. Is this the end of the world? And people are asking questions. It is always darkest before the dawn. It's always darkest before the dawn. Before that man will give a technical knockout to his tournament, to his boxing opponent. The last fight before the knockout is always the toughest fight, because he knows I need to finish this thing quickly and destroy the opponent. So what is going on is because it is always toughest when the war is about to end. It's always darkest before the dawn. But we shall overcome. Amen. And we shall continue to overcome. Amen. That's why I'm so glad this morning that when I read Acts 27 verse 44, they all escaped safe to land. We shall all escape safe to land. Amen. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. We're going to stand upon your feet and we're going to pray and call upon the Lord and ask the Lord that we are not going to be disturbed, rather we are going to praise. We are going to rejoice in the Lord. Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Close your eyes and let us pray. We are going to bless the name of the Lord, because all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, to them that are called according to his purpose. We are going to bless the name of the Lord. We are going to hand over your life to God this moment. God, I thank you because I am not alone. Thank you because your presence is with me. Your purpose shall be fulfilled in my life. Put your trust in the promises of God. Avoid compromise. Avoid corrupting influence. Avoid complacency. Avoid coldness. Avoid complaining. Avoid confessing negatives. Avoid companionship with evil people. Put your trust in the Lord, brother. Let's move on. Let's move on. We have a companion that never fails. Jesus has promised never to leave us alone. Never alone. Never alone. You are not alone in this voyage. He came to Paul. He said, I will be with you. Give assurance to Joshua. Joshua, as you go, no man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, I will be with you. I never leave you nor forsake you. The Lord is saying, I'm a companion and I will never fail. Pray for yourself this afternoon. And give him your assurance. Lord, I am always by your side. I'll be with you because I know you will never leave me nor forsake me.